What's up, everybody? My name's Pantsface, and today I want to talk about craftable gear in TOGC and badge gear in TOGC. So something that didn't cross my mind when I was making the BIS list video was to talk about like intermediate gear that you're going to get or that you might want to use as you gear up throughout next phase. Now, none of the gear that I'm about to show you is Abyss, but some of the items are actually really close. So I think it's definitely worth doing a deep dive into these items to see, as you're gearing up, what could be used as a temporary replacement, assuming it's not too expensive, as the phase goes on and as we continue to get gear. So let's hop into it. Now, if you find this guide helpful, give it a like and a subscribe as it helps me out a lot and I want to continue making content for you beautiful people. All right, let's get into it. So the first item I want to talk about is called the Bejeweled Wizard's Bracers. Now, these are a craftable bracer that is actually pretty good. I'm going to start here. This is the Alliance BIS setup that I shared in my previous video on gearing in Trial of the Grand Crusader. So if you haven't checked out that video, I would definitely recommend it. I talk about the BIS setup for Trial of the Grand Crusader and just some alternatives just as we gear. But this is the same set from that video. Now I'm going to save this as a reference, and we're using the 258 Haste Spirit wrists here. So what I want to do is now select the Bejeweled Wizard's Bracers. Okay, so 245 item level, Haste Crit instead of Haste Spirit, which is better for us. Now when I sim, it's actually really close, and it's about 35 DPS worse than the bracers I just selected. Now, I don't know if this is going to change. Let me try if we go for the set bonus. Does this make it any better? That was 1289. See, this actually, see when you change the gem, they even get a little bit better. So they're only 28 DPS worse than our BIS bracers next phase. So these are actually really good and probably going to be the first item that you want to buy that this is craftable. So if you can get your hands on these early, I absolutely would as you're waiting for those 258 bracers. Now, how does this compare to the bracers that are BIS this phase, Grasps of Reason? So let's select this. Let's put in a Runed Cardinal Ruby. And you can see they're actually a little bit better than Grasps of Reason. So not a ton, but if you are somebody who wants to min-max to the fullest extent, as soon as this next phase launches, you should try to get the Bejeweled Wizard's Bracers. So they are incredibly good. And, they're a nice holdover until we get those BIS 258 bracers. All right, now the next item I want to talk about is Merlin's robes, or there's another pair of craftable robes. Merlin's just seems to be the best option between the two. Now I have a tier 9 set that actually uses this as the offset. And now the reason you might do this is if you don't have Pharaoh's gloves, if you don't have like a good offset. Now, hold on. Actually, let me go back a second. Let me sim this. So this is again our BIS setup. And then I'm gonna save this as a reference. And now sim, what happens if we change the offset item to be Merlin's robes, which again, pretty strong item. You can see we lose about 120, 130 DPS. Now, that's not ideal, but these robes could be good as you're just, trying to gear up for next phase. And especially, I think the hard thing about these robes is that you're always going to have a tier chest because you're going to be holding on to tier 8 until you get tier 9. And it's really hard to replace your robes. But if you're a new character, these robes are really good. They're perfectly statted for Shadow Priests. And if you can have your tier kind of maneuvered around it, or if you don't even have tier yet, then these are an awesome upgrade. You're definitely going to want tier instead, but these are something to keep an eye out for. I definitely wouldn't prioritize them, and this is more of just like, hey, if you can afford them, they're not too, they might be expensive. It obviously depends with Crusader Orbs. Those will probably be expensive for the first like 4 weeks or so of the raid. But hey, if you have a lot of gold, this could be a good purchase just to hold you over to help gear up a new character. So just something to keep in mind. Now, the next items are all badge gear. So unfortunately, we have to, wait to acquire the badges to buy these items. But the thing for Shadow Priest is that if you remember from my last video, we don't want 245 or 232 tier, which means our badges are free to be spent however we want on, offset items, or, just buy Crusader Orbs and sell those if you want. But let's talk about, so there's a shoulder and a helm, and these, similar to Merlin's robes, not really great items, But I have sets here where, we have the Helm as an offset, which the Helm is crit spirit, so it's not really that great. I sim this and, it's a little bit worse than the Merlin's robe set. So you could use it as your offset item, but again, 232 tier, especially the Helm, is super easy to get. So I don't really see this being an item that you would waste your badges on. And I do say waste because even if this is an upgrade, it's not going to be an upgrade for long. So I would not recommend getting those. The shoulders here are a little bit better in terms of their stats. Haste Spirit. When I sim this as an offset, it's about the same. Not really that great. I think these two items are things that as you get an excess of badges, you might want to buy them. I don't see them being particularly great. Like they're not going to be pieces that you want to buy immediately, but I think if you have an alt that you're like running GDKPs in, or you don't have the best gear because the gear is going to the mains instead of your alts in your raid or whatever it might be, these could definitely be some fill-in pieces as you're waiting to upgrade. But I don't think that anybody who is a main Shadow Priest is going to ever be getting this shoulder or this helm and be excited about it, or it's going to be like a strong upgrade. I just don't see that happening. Now, the next item I want to talk about is the wand. So the wand's actually really interesting. I'm going to actually pick up the Horde set here, and let me swap to a troll so that we can sim this accurately. Okay, so I'm going to say this as a reference. And the reason that I'm doing this is because the Horde set uses the hit wand Petrified Ivy Sprig from Ulduar 10-man. Now, the badge wand is Brimstone Igniter, which is also a hit wand. It's not a very good hit wand, but it is a hit wand. So if you don't have Petrified Ivy Sprig, or if you're re-rolling and you just haven't gotten any gear yet, or you've just been unlucky with drops, I think we still have a few people in my guild who don't have this, a few main casters who don't have Petrified Ivy Sprig. You can use this. I'm not saying it's great, but you can use this as a hit option. It's not great. When I sim it, it's 51 DPS less, which is pretty bad. That's for a wand that is the same exact item level. That's 245. Petrified Ivy Sprig is 245. That's pretty bad. But if that is a slot where you need hit, this could be that alternative. I don't think I'd recommend it, but I will say there's not too many great options for badges. So this might be the item you want. I think it's really important to kind of plan out your gear at the start of the phase. It really depends on what you have and what you're looking to upgrade. So talk with your guild, see what you might be prioritized on. And, if you're missing the wand from Ulduar, this could be a replacement. I'm not saying it's a good one, but it could be a replacement for a hit wand. The next item I want to talk about is a ring. So Band of the Invoker. We're going to go back to the Alliance set just because I play Alliance. So, I can't forget my Draenei brothers and sisters out there. So again, let's give this a sim. And I want to save this as a reference. Now, the ring is not great, but it's called Band of the Invoker, I believe. Band of the Invoker. So it is a haste spirit item level 245 ring. Now, when I sim this versus Conductive Seal, I think it's about 50, 60 DPS worse. 57. Not great. But if you don't have both of the Ulduar rings, so the Nebula Band and the Conductive Seal, this is going to be a good second ring. So now I think the best ring outside of those two, I'm not sure if it'd be Signet of Soft Lament or the Pyrelight Circle. Here, let's give this a quick sim. So, okay, so this is, pretty decently worse than Band of the Invoker. And then the other one is Pyrelight Circle. So if I give this a sim, so this is going to be worse than simming for the Band of the Invoker. Now, sorry, I should have done this better with the references. But so this is 241. We put back Band of the Invoker and sim it. So you can see Band of the Invoker is stronger than Pyrelight Circle, which would be that third best ring from Ulduar. So if you don't have Nebula Band and Conductive Seal going into next phase, this could be a good early purchase just to get you a quick DPS upgrade. If you don't see yourself getting a ring soon, or if you've just been so fed up about having bad loot RNG that you just want to kind of give this to yourself as a treat, because there's not really any other options for badges. So this at least is the one that is a definitive upgrade over what you could potentially have going into the phase. So this is probably where on my alt priest, I would use my first set of badges. Now there is one badge item left, and that's actually a hit trinket. So unfortunately, this set doesn't use any hit trinkets, but I'm actually going to go to my character. So this is my character in current gear. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm using a Dying Curse. I have not gotten a Flare of the Heavens yet, unfortunately. But I want to sim using this gear as a reference because I think replacing Dying Curse with another hit trinket is a pretty fair comparison. Now, what is this trinket called? I actually forget. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's called Shard of the Crystal Heart. So it's 128 hit and 512 haste rating for 20 seconds. So let's sim this. Versing Dying Curse, it's definitely worse. Dying Curse is really strong. And I'm way over capped on hit. Right now, I'm really just trying to get to understand the effect of the on use part of this. So like, how does this compare, for example, to Living Flame, which is what we can currently get out of Old War 25. Obviously, Living Flame's not better than Dying Curse either. Well, assuming I don't think it ever is better, even if you're utilizing all of the hit. But you can see Living Flame, when I sim it, is still 50 DPS higher than what I was getting with that trinket. So you shouldn't really be prioritizing that 245 trinket anyway. It's not really a great item. And honestly, I think with how next phase is going to be, you should be able to get Dying Curse from like a 5-man dungeon. I'm sure it'll be contested and like every caster will be running whatever dungeon that is. But with how they're doing Heroic Plus, that might be a pretty easy or at least repeatable option daily to get a really good hit trinket. Anyway, that's it for the craftable and badge gear. So really the takeaway here is that the best items that we really want to get are number 1, Bejeweled Wizard's Bracers. So this is going to be, I think, like the crafted item that people are going to want. Even if you already have BIS gear, they're slightly better than the 252 bracers off of XT hard mode. So every caster is going to be wanting these immediately, or at least every Shadow Priest. I'm not sure about other casters. And then the badge item that I would recommend would be the ring if you don't have both Nebula Band and Conductive Seal. If you do have these, then you're golden, you're sitting pretty. Maybe save your badges, buy some Crusader Orbs, and make a nice profit to start the phase. Anyways, quick video, just kind of wanted to go over those items and how they might be able to help you in next phase. That's all for today. My name's Pantspace, and I'll see you in the next one.